There's a change that occurs in us when we complain, in that we become less able to aim for higher ideals and bonds. We become much more focused on getting rid of a negative experience or a negative emotion by somehow venting it. Unfortunately, that hyper focus on the negative that happens in a little microdose when we complain, that starts to change the brain to be better at noticing negative things. And you're going to feel a greater urge to vent that in the future. So you get this negative processing bias. That puts your amygdala on higher alert. So you're more likely then to stay in threat mode, looking for more threats to be coming. That means then that you're going to tend to have chronic sympathetic activation, which means high cortisol levels. High cortisol levels can be very deleterious to your health. For instance, people who have trouble controlling their anger have measurably higher cortisol, and they are much more likely to have slow wound healing than others. And it's because the cortisol itself changes the wounds so that the flesh there releases more inflammatory cytokines that keep the flesh inflamed. So the body has trouble healing in the presence of cortisol. Cortisol is meant to help us get through a very tough time, to get through something, and it shuts down the immune system. There are ways in which then these chronically negative appraisals even seem to influence the behavior of natural killer T cells. So turning down their activity. So we're less able to benefit from vaccines, less able to fight off viruses, potentially less able to kill cancer at early stages within us. So these chronically negative emotions, which is what complaining fosters, can in fact multiply our sufferings. In the moment, it multiplies suffering because it adds unwillingness and impatience to whatever the objective thing already is. But in the long run, it in some ways is like a self-fulfilling prophecy, that it brings about so many of the bad outcomes that we would want to have avoided in the first place. The alternative is not to turn a blind eye to things. I think the alternative is to look more accurately at the situation and ask yourself, this challenge, it's real, but how can it bring up my best? Almost never would complaining, the way we define it here, be a way that this challenge brings out your best. And so it distracts us from the real growth. So the challenge that we're facing, the thing that we'd be likely to complain about, can in fact be an opportunity for us. Many times that would give us adrenaline, and so we have this ability that if we engage the challenge, our adrenaline can actually do good for us. But if we complain about it, the cortisol ends up in the long run being able to actually harm us.